2023 was a terrible year for video games. Well, not if you look at the amount and quality of games actually released. Almost couldn't be better from that perspective. But from the perspective of those who actually create these games, the writers, the programmers, the artists who work to craft these pieces of art, it was god-awful. To demonstrate this, I made an hour-long, non-comprehensive, mostly chronological telling of all the major news events that occurred in 2023. You can find the link to that in the description, but to summarize, mass layoffs affected thousands of developers. My heart goes out to everyone affected. Alright, anyway, I played 22 games in 2023, about half as much as I did in 2022. That was mainly because of one specific game that'll be coming up in a bit. Many of the games I played were for retrospectives. 4 were for Luigi's Mansion Mania, links to that in the description, and 3 were for an upcoming and unannounced project. More on that soon. But due to this, and because I only considered games released in 2022 and 2023 for this list, it's, well, interesting. I was left with exactly 10 games I could consider, and I did not love every game that I played. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention some of the games that probably could have been here had I played them. So shout out to Baldur's Gate 3, Slay the Princess, Pizza Tower, Misery-Chord, Viewfinder, Homebuddy, Season, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, the God of War Ragnarok DLC, Pikmin 4, Venba, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, and Sea of Stars. Plus I still haven't gotten around to Horizon Forbidden West, Disco Elysium, LEGO Star Wars, or Elden Ring, and those are just the ones sitting on my TV stand that I already own. So, without further ado, my number 10 favorite game of the year is... Like I said, I didn't have a wide variety in 2023, so even when a game breaks my heart, it still finds a place in my top 10. Infinite Guitars, the indie game, rhythm game, action game, role-playing game, had a lot going on in it. The art style is great, the writing is good in spots, but most importantly, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing, and the rhythm game aspects are really fun. Gliding my finger over the top, left, and bottom face buttons to strum along with the guitar note chart was incredibly fun. So fun that, after getting a game-breaking bug about halfway through, I didn't mind playing through it again. Unfortunately, when I got yet another game-breaking bug with only a few hours to go, I didn't quite have it in me to start over again. Infinite Guitars could have been so good, but it desperately needed another year of polish. You can hear my full story in my video on it, linked in the description. Here's another game that probably shouldn't be here, but this time it's because of me, not the game. In 2022, this $3, then later $5 game blew up Steam. Seemingly everyone played it. It was the indie sleeper hit of the year. As such, it was copied by many a mobile developer, so then this game was ported to mobile as well. So when I saw that Vampire Survivors was free on my phone, sure, I'll download it and play it for a bit. Well, turns out I played it for more than a bit. I don't have an hour count, but I did fully complete the mobile version. Every character, every unlock, I had a pretty good time. I get what it's doing, I get why people love it, but for me it was something to idly do for 10 to 30 minutes at a time. I was never fully invested. I have no drive to go back for any of the DLC. This is a good note that I also have a problem with completing games, in that I need to do it even when I'm not having the best of times. Which is to say, Vampire Survivors is a good game, and despite me fully completing it, it wasn't really for me. I had little to do January 1st, 2023, but I knew this little game came out at the tail end of 2022, and I thought it would make the perfect start to the year. So I curled up in bed, grabbed my Switch, and played through all of Little Gator game in one swift sitting. Such a cute little game! Borrowing exploration mechanics from Breath of the Wild, it's so fun to hop and climb around these islands, bashing open cardboard cutouts, and talking with various other park goers, having a nice time during this beautiful autumnal day. When it came to reviewing, I did not mind playing through it a second time to get footage. Similar to a short hike, it's simply fun to vibe, and both are only around 4 hours long. It helps that so much of the dialogue is just the right balance of humorous and sentimental as well. This is the true start of my favorite games I played, and you can find my full thoughts in my review of it, link in the description. I love a good Star Wars, to a fault. No matter how bad these shows get, I will begrudgingly watch all of them and hopefully find something interesting. I'm looking at you, single episode of The Mandalorian wedged in the middle of Book of Boba Fett, and only the first, not the second. The second one had too much CG Luke. Also, The Last Jedi was the best of the sequel trilogy. Y'all just need to admit this is science fantasy already and go with it. Kill the CinemaSins in your head. Kill the cop in your head while you're at it. Wait, what was I talking about? Right, Star Wars. Jedi Survivor is a really good Star Wars. I didn't play it until months after the game released, meaning by the time I got around to it, most of the bugs had been ironed out. So I just got to have a fun adventure across multiple different planets, with fun characters, really amazing set pieces, and truly excellent lightsaber combat. I feel we probably could have done with maybe one more planet to visit. I enjoyed Koboh for a time, but I don't think making it a semi-open world hub worked in Jedi Survivor's strengths. It's great at linear storytelling culminating with epic battles. I didn't so much want to run around this desert finding a cave with the green hologram that has a chest with a new beard or a new outfit inside of it. Plus, despite the multiple different climates explored on Koboh, there's something special about jumping into hyperspace, going someplace light years away, and finding a whole new cast. On Koboh, you walk everywhere, you see roughly the same people, you fight the same enemies. But despite that, everything is just as good, if not a little bit better than it was in Jedi Fallen Order. The only real bugs I had were mostly visual, the new force powers are so fun, double jump he can, and the story is really great. I've always had good rhythm. I realize there are many out there who can't say the same, but for me, it's just been an 8. Naturally, rhythm games are one of my favorite genres. Even when the packaging isn't so good, a game like Infinite Guitars can bring me in with a solid feeling mechanic. One genre I've never been great at is the character action game. You know, something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. I don't know if I'll ever get past chapter 15 of Bayonetta, those tiger guys were tough. I can't get the timing, and memorizing combos hurts my brain. But when I first laid eyed on Hi-Fi Rush's trailer, I was instantly sold. Action game? Eh. Rhythm action game? Heck yeah. And Tango Gameworks spent so much time making sure Hi-Fi Rush was just right. Naturally, all the timing would fall on the beat. When will you attack? The next beat. When will they attack? The next beat. And just this simple partition made everything click in my mind. Don't get me wrong, I still can't use combos, but I didn't need to. Everything else was just the cream on top. A beautifully rendered world? Check. Visually interesting elements in every level that also move on beat? Check. Excellent voice acting and a really fun story? Check. I expounded upon my thoughts earlier in the year, link in the description, but overall, Hi-Fi Rush is such an excellent package. I cannot wait for a sequel. So, I've never played Jet Set Radio. I've owned it on Steam for well over a decade, but the one time I tried to play it, my computer couldn't run it well, and I didn't even have an Xbox controller. I did watch a Let's Play though, which was more than enough to make me a fan of both the concept and the soundtrack. I was really excited when Bomb Rush Cyberfunk was announced, was really excited when it released, and am so happy with how it turned out. The movement feels really good. The levels are so excellently designed. The boost pack adds a fun way to navigate. The cell shading is spectacular and has an immaculate color palette. And all the character designs are sick as hell. Not to mention the story is actually really good with great characterizations throughout. To swap characters, you have to navigate to a spot and breakdance. There's nothing cooler than skating up a light pole, tagging a wall, beating up a cop, and dancing to switch to one of the coolest designed characters you've ever seen. And the music is sick as hell, with tracks from Hideki Naganuma himself, and also To Mellow, who I'm a big fan of. One of the coolest games ever. In 2010, I was busy playing Nintendogs, or WarioWare Touched, or Mario Kart DS, or Mario 64 DS. That, or I was on my Wii playing with the Smash Bros. Brawl custom stage creator, or just playing Mario Galaxy 2. What I wasn't doing was stumbling upon somewhat unknown Capcom titles that would go on to become cult classics. But don't worry, those who did made themselves known. This game seemed to make people go absolutely feral. Toby Fox said it was one of his inspirations to make Undertale. One of my favorite artists, Cravat, posts about it constantly. When I heard this game was receiving a remake, I swore to myself I'd make time for it. I had to play something that was so clearly this special. Well, the game released and I didn't buy it. There was one specific other game that I was still fully obsessed with, but literally a day and a half before Super Mario Bros. Wonder released, I found myself wanting to play a game. I had $100 in my Sony wallet and a How Long to Beat tab open saying the game was only 12 hours. Just enough time. Also, the game was on sale, double bonus. I downloaded Ghost Trick Phantom Detective and with only an 8-hour sleep break, pushed through the entire game in a single setting. And you know what? I get it. If I had played this when it first released, I could see myself being completely obsessed with it too. The puzzles? Amazing. The art? Really great. The animation's so fluid and fun to watch. The music banging and the story? Ooh, what an amazing feat. This game took me on so many twists and turns, such fantastic reveals, and everything had a satisfying payoff. Truly immaculate. How have more people not played this game? It is that good. And it's so simple. There's a Rube Goldberg machine that the main character needs to stop. He can ghost, move around, or trick, make things move. And that's it. It's so simple, yet the puzzles they create are so innovative and creative and amazing, and the dialogue is so funny and also so interesting. Oh my god, am I going feral over this game? Why haven't you played Ghost Trick? I even forced myself to learn how to do sliding block puzzles to complete this game. I hate sliding block puzzles. Go play Ghost Trick. Go play it now. Speaking of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, number 3 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'll be returning to Super Mario Bros. Bonanza, the show where I reviewed and ranked every Super Mario game soon to give this game a formal review, but for now, what a great game. From the get-go, everything is standard Mario fare, but with a new level of polish. A whole host of enemies, many with fun twists. All the art and animations are a joy to look at, a huge step up from the new Super Mario Bros. Series, and all the level design is really tight with some fun hidden collectibles throughout. That alone would make this a solid entry in the series, but the Wonder Flowers take it a step further. Every single level has a unique twist. Sometimes the pipes move, the plants sing, the rhinos charge. Every time I was so excited to see what fun things the developers crafted. This does mark the first game that Kevin Afghani voiced our Italian plumber in. I'll always have room in my heart for Charles Martinet, but I think Afghani did a swell job. Plus, since his voice is a tad bit different, it actually makes my Mario impression a little bit more accurate. Yahoo! When creating this list, I thought of something called the Did I Cry test. Now, this isn't the end-all be-all of a good game. Many games are great through gameplay alone, and even games that are built around narrative can be great while invoking an entirely different swath of emotions. But also, sometimes I really love when a game is able to make me cry. Only 2 games on this list did this entry and the next, and for 2 entirely different reasons, I might add. This game did it through text. Just condensed, heart-wrenching, beautiful prose. Citizen Sleeper is the type of game I'm not confident enough to actually review. I can talk about its excellent game mechanics, how the player character, the sleeper, must balance their life, prioritize working to get money, prioritize medicine to keep their decaying body alive, prioritize getting a corporate tracker out of their skull. All the while they can't do everything at once, their body only gives them so many actions, represented as a series of dice. 6 die always work, 3s are a 50-50, 2s even worse. The worse their body is, the less dice they get. The worse they do at work, the less money they get, the less food they can buy, the less medicine they can afford. But the sleeper is able to persist through community. The nice cook who prepares them mushroom dishes, the kind worker and his little daughter, the sketchy doctor, the welcoming farmer. The mechanics are an excellent way to add stress and motivators to get to the beautiful narrative. The character building, the community building. The first ending I got, what I still consider my canonical ending. My sleeper still hadn't explored half of this station, but would do anything to help this one man, and help this one man's daughter. And they did. It was lovely, it was tragic, it was perfect. I was unsure of this game at first. Not quite skeptical, but uneasy. How could a team, no matter how experienced, no matter how talented, follow up one of the greatest open-world games of all time? 6 years prior, it was the first ever open-world game I had ever played, and I fell in love. Hundreds of hours, 2 playthroughs worth, in love with it. But the sequel would be reutilizing the same world. How could exploring this vast landscape be interesting if I'd done it all before? That was my one and only holdup, and on May 12th I was excited to be waiting outside the Best Buy to pick up my collector's edition along with dozens of others. And when I finally booted up, I learned that Nintendo EPD did the impossible. They made a better game than Breath of the Wild. Yes, it's the same world, but it wasn't rote exploring the same landmasses again. It was invigorating, like visiting a town after so many years. I got to see how people have changed, how kids have grown, how the inciting event had affected both the characters and the landscapes around them. Kakariko is all a bustle over the fallen circles. This adventurer is looking for geoglyphs. Terrytown is mining parts. Lookout Landing is on the search for Zelda. Pura is hot now. Hey, wait, cut that one out, actually. And the landscape has changed too. Caves added a new aspect to the previously known locales. Towers have been added to launch Link to the, albeit somewhat formulaic, Sky Islands. Expansive chasms have opened up, letting Link explore the ever-dark depths. All of this running seamlessly on a handheld that was underpowered when it first launched. The dungeons are excellent. The music swelling as Link and his current ally traversed through the deadly maze was always epic, and the bosses were the perfect climax. The building mechanic is so fun, from the simplest, what if I just build a really long bridge, to that cool hover bike, or just the wild machines people have been able to devise. It's such an impossibly cool tool, and Ascend is mind-breaking. The fact that it works everywhere is a feat in and of itself. It should be game-breaking, but it is yet another tool in Link's belt. And the story, I'll do my best not to spoil, but Link uncovering Zelda's mystery was beautiful. I had one specific event that will live in my head forever. Link and Zelda care for each other so much. It's apparent in the brief moments we see them together in the opening. Throughout each Zelda cutscene, it's only more apparent how much she trusts her swordsman. I had one scene left to find. At this point, I had pieced together the entire mystery. I found this last scene. It was one of the earlier ones. In it, Zelda is blushing as she regaled about her strong and valiant knight, so much so that she would do that, with full faith that he would know what to do. The critic in me wishes the game ended tragically. They think it probably would have been a better narrative. But screw them! I still tear up even just thinking about those final moments. The first phase of that final fight when the thing does the thing. The final battle when they get to put their trust in one another once more. And the final descent, the musical motifs returning for one final callback. The Star Wars George Lucas patented its poetry, it rhymes. I spent 320 hours in this game. I found every location, collected every Korok seed, fought every boss, completed every quest, upgraded every armor. I spent 300 hours in this wonderful world, and only a week after doing so, I found myself wishing I had a reason to go back. There is no way my game of the year could be anything other than The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you for watching. Let me know your favorite games from 2023. And while you're here, consider leaving a rating on the video and subscribing to be notified of all the other videos I put out. If you'd like to read what I have to write, you can follow me on my social medias, where I'm at Mario8 everywhere. Links to them and all the other videos I referenced are in the description. You can also find my top 10 from all the games I played, not just those from 2022 or 23, on my GGApp.io page or my backlog page. They're different lists. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.